Hey everyone, my name is Matt and this is an acoustic slow flow yoga practice. So for my slow flow classes, I like to be on the ground. For me, that works really well. I feel like it helps kind of flip my nervous system into more of a relaxed kind of response near the end. So that's the goal for this practice. I'm also very inspired by the seasons. So we're almost in autumn here in Arizona. And I feel like this is a great practice to do, especially when there's a lot of change. So even if you're practicing when it's not autumn or there's kind of a seasonal transition, maybe there's something in your life that's changing, this sequence I think can be great for that. So I hope it works for you. As far as the props, a couple blankets to either side of the mat set up would be great, like this. And then also a bolster or something like that to sit up on to start. So we'll start in Sukhasana, which is an easy cross-legged seated position. So pose of good space. Take your time to land there. Once you're there, bring palms face down to thighs. So in an energetic kind of way, palm face down is more grounding. So facing towards the earth. And give yourself about 5 good breaths. Just land, notice your breath cycle. Notice how you feel right now. So for these last couple breath cycles, just notice if you're feeling pretty balanced. Maybe you're a little bit more on the yin side of things. And what I mean by that is maybe less energetic than you'd like to be, maybe even a little bit lethargic. Maybe you're a little bit more on the yang side of things. So maybe a little bit too much energy, maybe that's translating into anxiety. And all that's okay, just taking the time to notice. So last breath to notice. As you're ready with your next inhale, lift your shoulders up toward your ears. With your exhale, long sigh out your mouth as they drop back down. Do that one more time. So inhale, lift, breathing through nose. Exhale that sigh and drop. And a good breath or two there. Just notice the change. A breathing practice to help balance the energy. So this is called Nadi Shodhana, the Sanskrit. In English, it's alternate nostril breathing. So taking your first 2 fingers, so your index to middle of your right hand, pressing gently in between your eyebrows. Next inhale, take that through your left nostril, and exhale out the right. Inhale right. Exhale left. So that's one full cycle. So now just continue that at your own pace of breath. So inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left. Finish with one last cycle. So next time you exhale out of your left nostril, that is the last cycle. So bring that top hand, palm face down, back to that bottom thigh. And then just let that drift into an Ujjayi breath cycle. If you're not familiar with that, it's the same thing that you do if you were to go to fog up a mirror, except for you just keep your mouth closed the whole time. So that results in a nice oceanic wave-like sound. So we'll take about 5 breaths to start. just notice your energy. So after that breathing practice, maybe notice if you're a little bit more balanced in the center. Hopefully. A couple good, more long breaths in that space. Try to stay connected to that long Ujjayi breath cycle throughout the rest of this practice. If your eyes are closed, open them back up. And then with your next inhale, we'll link some breath with movement. So next inhale, more of a subtle movement. So allow that inhale to start the movement to bring your arms out wide. And then with your exhale, bend your elbows, bring your hands back to thighs. So it's like a slow wing movement. Next inhale, we'll just continue flowing with that. So arms out wide. Exhale, palms back to thighs. Inhale, arms out wide. Just feel that nice flow, slow movement. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. With your next exhale, we'll keep the arms there. We'll stay there. We'll find a side stretch. So next inhale, drop the right arm down to the right, left arm up and overhead. And then once you're there, about 3 long, good breaths. So one way to deepen that is pressing your hips more down towards the earth, reaching the top fingertips more to the side as you bend that bottom elbow at the same time. Next exhale, we're gonna make a half circle. So bring the top fingertips down and walk to the center to a Sukhasana forward fold. So spread your fingers out wide. Inhale, lengthen. Your exhale, find your fold. So melt your heart and forehead towards the earth. Extra long breath there. Next inhale, side stretch to the opposite side. So right hand down, left arm up and overhead. Same thing, 3 long good breaths. Pressing hips more down, reaching top fingertips more to the side as you bend that bottom elbow. Maybe that last inhale's your deepest. Next exhale, we're going to press off the bottom hand, bring it back to center, arms out wide. Inhale, lengthen fingertips to fingertips. This time with your exhale, bring your hands behind you. Take note of which ankle you started with in front. Plant your feet down. You can stay there or cycle your knees side to side. We'll do about 3 more cycles. So as you find your flow with that, just maybe lean into that a little bit more. So both hands behind the same hip. Taking that to the opposite side. So you're just wringing out a little bit more each cycle with your twist. And back to center. And then bring the opposite ankle in front, back to Sukhasana, good breath. Notice the change. That same slow wing movement flow. So inhale, arms out wide. Exhale, they float back. Inhale, out wide. Exhale, they float back. Inhale, out wide. Exhale, they float back. Inhale, out wide. Exhale, float back. Inhale out wide. Again, we'll stay. Exhale. So next inhale, side stretch starting on the opposite side. So up and over to your left side. Again, about 3 long breaths. Maybe that last inhale deepest, reaching the most. With your next exhale, walk fingertips back to center. Inhale, lengthen center. Exhale, fold. So inhale, right side stretch. Again, about 3 long breaths. Maybe that last inhale reaching the most. Exhale again, walking center. Inhale, lengthen center. Exhale, fold. So extra long breath there in the center. From there again, walking your hands back to Sukhasana. So hands back to thighs. So next inhale, arms out wide. Your next exhale this time, tent your fingertips to either side of your hips. So we're gonna find a neck stretch from here. Inhale, pressing hips more down towards the earth as you lift your head more towards the sky. And with your next exhale, let your right ear fall toward your right shoulder. You should feel a nice stretch on the left side of your neck. You can stay or crawl your left fingertips further away. 5 more good breaths in that space. Your last couple breath cycles, you're breathing so deeply that you just start to feel more and more tension release in the neck and shoulder area. Crawl your fingertips even further away. And then we'll just dip the chin towards the chest. And then we'll just carve that line a few times. So ear back to shoulder. Carving that line, chin back to chest. Doing that a few more times. Your ear comes up toward your shoulder. We'll keep that. Last couple breaths. Lift your chin back to that start position, so back in the center. Again, deep inhale. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Again, staying, maybe crawling right fingertips further away from the hip. Deep breaths. From there, just dipping your chin down and carving that same line, just opposite side. 3 or 4 more times. Just moving nice and slow. So next time the ear reaches towards the shoulder, we'll stay about 5 long breaths. Fingertips further away. Again, staying so connected to that long breath cycle. Maybe each exhale feels like you're really releasing tension more and more. Chin back to center. Good long breath there. Next inhale, arms back out wide. Next exhale, again, floating hands behind you. Again, plant your feet down. Again, stay there in the center, or again, rock knees side to side. And again, you can keep that hands behind or twist more. So both hands just come behind that same hip. last cycle. So come back to Sukhasana, whichever ankle in front. Give yourself a good breath. Notice how you feel now. Maybe a little bit lighter, especially more space in the neck and shoulders. You can sit up a little bit taller. And then from there, we'll transition to tabletop. So bring the bolster off to the side of the mat. You can always pad your knees too with the blanket underneath your knees. Otherwise, coming straight down to your mats. Once you're there, spread fingers out wide. Connect to the earth with hands and feet and knees. And then once you're good there, next inhale, let that guide you to your first cow pose. Your exhale, cat. And take about 2 more, just at your own pace. And we'll take about 3 more. So if cow and cat is best, continue that going. Otherwise, add in more of an undulation with your cow. So you're just rolling more forward. Your exhale, rolling more back. So it's just an expanded energy wave going through your spine. So about 2 more slow cycles. Last cycle, we'll come back to a child's pose. So knees wide, hips back to heels. You can stay there with elbows on the earth, or bend at your elbows more and bring your hands in a prayer shape above your head to find that nice tricep stretch in child's pose. Next exhale, hands release. Inhale, come up to either cat or table. And with your exhale, bring your forearms down, so maybe one at a time, to Sphinx pose. And we'll take about 3 long, good breaths to breathe in Sphinx. This always feels great for my low back, kind of perfect. If it doesn't for you, you can play rocking the weights, forearm to forearm, and forward and back. How high your chest is off the earth. Last good breath after you found your pose. And you have the option to stay here. Otherwise, we'll add on with a core practice from Sphinx. So with your next inhale, find a version of cow pose. So hips more down towards the earth. Maybe you lift your heart higher, gaze higher. With your exhale, use your core to peel your low belly and hips off the earth to find a cat pose. We'll just keep flowing with that. So inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. So last exhale, cat pose. We'll hang on to cat pose. So deep breaths. Even though you're strongly using your core, can you breathe in a 3-dimensional kind of way? So that low belly is still expanding and contracting with your breath. Last good inhale in this version of cat pose. With your exhale, release your hips down, so we're just back in Sphinx. Re-land, again about 3 long breath cycles. So just see how you feel now in Sphinx. Turn some of those poses into a flow. So we're going to skip the cow and cat, but with your next inhale, just find a lengthened, deeper version of Sphinx. So maybe again, lifting your heart a little bit higher. So it is kind of like a cow pose. With your exhale, release your heart down, plant your hands underneath the shoulders, setting up for cobra. And then with your inhale, find a lengthened version of cobra. So not your deepest back bend, just think toes away from crown of head. Exhale, press off your hands to bring it back to child's pose. And once you're in child's, an active child's pose. So spreading fingers wide, press fingers away from hips. Deep inhale to lengthen. So fingertips away from hips. Your exhale, maybe melting more, so heart and forehead more towards the earth. And then with your inhale, come up to cat or table. And we'll keep flowing that, so exhale, alternating forearms coming down, back to Sphinx. And Sphinx. Inhale, deeper Sphinx, maybe deeper back bend, maybe it's just energetic. With your exhale, release heart, plant hands. Inhale that lengthened cobra. Exhale, press back, child's pose. So inhale that active child's pose, pressing fingertips away from hips. Exhale, melting more. Inhale, cat or table. Exhale, forearm down, alternating Sphinx. So inhale, deeper Sphinx. Exhale, release, plant hands. Inhale, lengthen the cobra. Exhale, press off hands, back to child's. Inhale, active child's. Exhale, melting child's pose. Inhale, cat or table. Exhale, alternating down, Sphinx. Inhale, Sphinx pose. Exhale, release, hands plants. Inhale, lengthen the cobra. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, reaching, child's pose, active. Exhale, melting more. Inhale, come up to table or cat pose. And we'll stay in that pose. So staying in table. And then from there, some slow hula hoop hip circles. So one direction. Taking your time with that. You can go as slow as you'd like, small circles as you'd like. Once you get the hang of that, maybe bigger circles, maybe moving a little bit quicker. So after that nice deeper core connection that we found with that cow and cat from Sphinx, you're staying connected to that same area. So hopefully that should feel really grounding. You're really connected to your third chakra. An opposite direction. So you feel even in both directions. Come back to table. And then here's where we'll use the blankets to either side of the mat. So if they're not set up, just take the time to set that up. We'll come to lie down. So thighs, hips, belly, then chest. And this is our start position. So you can stay here, where we'll find half frog pose. So bring the right leg out to the right. Right knee stays in line with the right hip. And this is meant to be more restorative. So if that's best, you can stay, otherwise straight through the right leg. But to help land more deeply, you just lift your hips up and then pull your hips further away from that knee. You reset your hips back down. And then stack your hands, so one hand on top of the opposite hand, and forehead to hands. And we'll be here for a little while, so about 15 to 20 deep breaths. Just let gravity and those deep breaths do the work in this pose. And just notice if you feel any tension anywhere that you don't need. See if you can let that go. And about 5 more good long breaths. And if you need extra time staying, once you're ready, lean a bit more to your left side as you bring that right leg straight back behind. And then take a couple long breaths in the center. So notice how you feel side to side. So big toes touch, heels fall away. As you are ready, switch sides. Lean the weight more towards the right side. Left leg goes out, lands on the blankets, knee in line with hip. And staying, maybe that leg goes straight. So coming into that in that same way, so hands might behind or underneath shoulders. Pull your hips away from the knee. Resit hips down. Stack hands, maybe opposite hand on top, forehead to hands. And about 15 to 20 long breaths. And just let your weight settle into the earth. And again, just let gravity and those deep breaths do the work. If you're noticing tension, letting that go if you can. About 5 more breaths. As you feel balance versus that first side, coming up, leaning more to the right side, the left leg goes straight back, big toes touch, heels fall away, restack hands, forehead back to hands, deep breaths, noticing. So this is actually a yin version of Shavasana, lying face down. So if that's correct, you can stay for Shavasana. Another version with the props though is this. Take the bolster, your torso is gonna go on the bolster. With one blanket, you'll roll that up. That'll go underneath your ankles. The opposite blankets, you stack that one more time. That'll go underneath your forehead. This is probably my favorite way to do Shavasana. So come to lie down, get yourself set up. Cactus arms, forehead goes to blanket. So once you're there, long inhale through your nose. long exhale, sigh out your mouth. Drop your Ujjayi breath cycle, so just let it happen naturally now. And you have no other responsibility right here, right now. This is time for you to let go and relax. And I'll play a song. And this is a song called Soften. The past is in the past. Future is unknown, but right here and right now, that's where we belong. We've known this on the inside, we feel it when the world slows down. Taking a walk in nature, life's beautiful song. 'Cause there's always something to do, and always somewhere to be. But what about you? Yeah, here. Maybe it's better to let it be, to the space of the in-between. Maybe it's better to soften and just breathe. The past is behind, the future is beyond. We're waking up in the moments as we learn to fly, learning to move like water as the tide pulls us along. And getting into our hearts is life's beautiful song. 'Cause there's always something to change, and always something to fix. But what about you? Yeah, you. Maybe it's better to let it be, to the space of the in-between. Maybe it's better to soften and just breathe. Stay here and realize, and just breathe with me. Take a moment to realize that you're free. Take a moment and spend it, and just be with me. Take a moment to realize that we are free. Maybe it's better to let it be, to the space of the in-between. Maybe it's better to soften and just breathe and just breathe. in that lying face down Shavasana shape, take a few long breaths to just bring it back. Maybe moving fingers and toes. Maybe a little rock side to side with heels. Once you're ready, press off your hands. Take it back to a child's pose. Good breath, child's pose. Coming up to tabletop. Crossing your ankles, come to sit down, support with the bolster or not, your choice, back to Sukhasana. So a couple of good long breaths, Sukhasana, back where we started. Notice how you feel now. Hands to heart, give yourself a nice thanks for making the time for yourself, by doing your practice, for your own sense of well-being. Just appreciate those ripple effects to everything, everyone around us by doing that. We'll end with one collective breath. So inhale through nose. Exhale, soft sigh out mouth. And enjoy the rest of your day, evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.